The massive hospital ship floated silently through space, its white hull gleaming under distant starlight. Red crosses, each the size of a small building, marked its sides in brilliant illumination. The HMHS Mercy Aya represented humanity's commitment to healing, carrying hope and medical care to anyone who needed it, regardless of species or allegiance. Captain James Miller stood on the bridge, watching as his crew responded to the distress signal. The message had come from a small mining colony 3 light hours away. Some kind of industrial accident, they said. The captain didn't hesitate. That's not what hospital ships did. Status report, he called out, his voice calm and steady. 7 years of commanding the Mercy Eye had taught him that calm spreads, just like panic does. 2,000 medical staff ready, sir, reported his first officer, Thomas Reed. 5,000 current patients are stable. All surgical bays prepped for emergency response. Miller nodded. The Mercy Eye was the largest hospital ship ever built by human hands. At 3 kilometers long, it could handle almost any medical crisis in this sector of space. Its 20 emergency response shuttles could reach a planet's surface in minutes, and its 100 surgical bays were equipped with the latest medical technology Earth had to offer. Sir, called out Lisa Green from communications, we're picking up 3 ships on an intercept course. She paused, frowning at her screen. They're not responding to identification requests. Miller felt the first hint of worry. The Mercy Aya was completely unarmed. International law forbade weapons on medical vessels. Their only protection was the universal respect for medical neutrality and the massive red crosses that marked them as healers, not warriors. Broadcast our medical status again, he ordered. All frequencies, all languages. The approaching ships grew larger on the main screen. Their design was familiar, stellar Dominion warships. Miller had treated their wounded before. The Dominion wasn't always friendly to Earth, but they respected medical neutrality. Or so he thought. Sir, Green's voice cracked with alarm. They're powering up weapons. Miller's mind refused to accept it for a moment. This is a hospital ship, he broadcast. We have 7,000 civilians aboard. We are unarmed. The first blast caught them in the middle section. The ship's structural integrity fields strained against the attack. Alarms blared throughout the massive vessel. Get everyone to the escape pods, Miller shouted. Emergency Protocol 7. Move. More hits rocked the ship. Medical equipment crashed to the floor. Somewhere below, Miller heard screaming. They're targeting our engines, Reed reported, his hands gripping his console. They're not trying to disable us. They're trying to destroy us. Miller hit the ship-wide broadcast. All hands, abandon ship. This is not a drill. Get to the escape pods now. Through the chaos, Miller saw medical staff helping patients into escape pods. Doctors carried those too weak to walk. Nurses made sure critical patients had portable life support. Even as their ship died around them, they didn't stop being healers. The bridge shook violently. Support beams crashed down, crushing equipment and blocking exits. Miller saw Green dragging an injured crew member toward an escape pod access tunnel. Go, he shouted to his remaining bridge crew. That's an order. The final blast split the Mercy Eye in half. The mighty hospital ship, with its state-of-the-art medical bays and dedicated crew, broke apart in silent agony. Emergency pods shot out in all directions, but there hadn't been enough time. Not nearly enough time. Hours later, as rescue ships approached the debris field, they found only 47 survivors. The footage of the attack, broadcast automatically by the ship's emergency buoys, was already speeding toward Earth. Soon, humanity would watch as their hospital ship, their symbol of compassion and healing, was deliberately destroyed. In the cold darkness of space, pieces of the great ship drifted apart. Broken red crosses tumbled end over end, their light finally fading. But in that moment of darkness, humanity's response was already beginning. Deep in hidden shipyards and classified military installations across the solar system, lights were coming on. Weapons were warming up. Ships were awakening. The Stellar Dominion had just made the biggest mistake in their history. They were about to learn why you never, ever attack a human hospital ship. The emergency meeting room of Earth's Combined Military Council lay deep underground. 50 of humanity's highest-ranking military leaders sat in rising tiers around a central platform, their faces grim as they watched the final moments of the HMHS Mercy II play out on the massive screen before them. Admiral Elizabeth Stone stood at the center, her white uniform crisp and perfect, her gray hair pulled back severely. She waited until the recording finished, until the last pieces of the hospital ship drifted into darkness. The room remained silent, heavy with contained fury. 47 survivors, she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the room. Out of 7,000. The youngest survivor is 8 years old. She was being treated for bone cancer. Stone tapped her control pad, bringing up new images. This wasn't random. This wasn't a mistake. The screen showed other attacks. Smaller medical ships, civilian rescue vessels, all marked with the Red Cross, all attacked by Dominion forces. They've been testing us, Stone continued, probing, waiting to see how we would respond. The Mercy I was their final test. They wanted to see if we would react to a direct attack on our largest medical vessel. General Roberts stood up, his dark face flushed with anger. Then let's show them our response. Full military mobilization. Every ship, every soldier. No, Stone said quietly. Not every ship. Not every soldier. She smiled, and there was something in that smile that made even the veteran commanders shift uncomfortably. We're going to show them what they've never seen. Protocol Absolute Response. The room erupted in whispers. Protocol Absolute Response was a myth, a rumor, something junior officers talked about in quiet corners. Stone entered a complex code into her pad. Deep beneath their feet, ancient machinery hummed to life. For 100 years, Stone said, we've maintained the fiction of a minimal defense force. Old ships, basic weapons, just enough to protect Earth and our closest colonies. The main screen changed, showing a real-time view of Earth's orbit. That fiction ends today. Hidden doors in the sides of mountains began to open. Underwater bases activated. Asteroid fields shifted, revealing massive shipyards. Clouds parted as massive vessels rose from their secret homes on Earth. The Jupiter Defense Fleet, Stone announced as sleek warships emerged from the gas giant's storms. The Mars Underground Armada. The Titan Special Operations Group. More ships appeared with each name. The Neptune Deep Space Force. The room was silent again, but now with awe. These ships were unlike anything they'd seen before. Darker, faster, more advanced than anything humanity had publicly revealed. 7 fleets, Stone continued. 4,000 ships. Weapon systems that our enemies think are theoretical. Defense systems they haven't imagined. All hidden. All waiting. All ready. She brought up the image of the Mercy I again. They thought we were weak because we choose to heal. They thought we were vulnerable because we extend mercy. They were wrong. Humanity survived countless wars, endless conflicts, and we learned. We learned to hide our strength. We learned to keep our weapons secret, and we learned to wait for the right moment. The survivor logs appeared next. Medical staff who had died protecting their patients, doctors who had given their emergency suits to children, nurses who had stayed behind to help others escape. These people died while trying to save lives. Stone said, they died because they believed in something greater than themselves. Now we're going to show the Dominion exactly what that means. She looked at each commander in turn. The rescue ships will reach the survivors in 6 hours. When they're safe, when they're home, we launch. We'll hit every Dominion military base simultaneously. We'll destroy their ability to make war, and we'll do it without attacking a single civilian target, without compromising a single medical facility. Stone's voice hardened. Because that's the difference between us and them. We have the power to destroy them completely. Instead, we're going to show them why humanity's greatest strength isn't our weapons. It's our restraint. The vote was unanimous. In orbits and bases across the solar system, orders went out. Ships powered up. Crews moved to battle stations. The greatest military force humanity had ever assembled prepared to launch. The Dominion was about to learn the cost of underestimating humanity's mercy. The asteroid belt came alive. What had appeared to be simple rocks split open, revealing massive warships that had waited in silence for decades. Their dark hulls absorbed light rather than reflecting it, making them nearly invisible against the blackness of space. On the bridge of the flagship Retribution, Admiral Stone watched as her fleet assembled. Each ship was a masterpiece of hidden human engineering. The Dominion scans would show them as being half their true size, with only a fraction of their actual capabilities. "Status report," she ordered, standing at the command center. Around her, the bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency that would have been impossible if these ships were truly as new as they appeared. "All ships reporting ready, Admiral," said Commander William Ross. "Weapon systems online. Quantum shields at full power." He paused, checking another reading. "The Mars Deep Labs have activated the gravity lance platforms." Stone nodded. The gravity lances were one of humanity's most closely guarded secrets. Weapons that could tear apart enemy ships by creating localized gravity wells, pulling them apart piece by piece. The Dominion thought such weapons were impossible. They were about to learn differently. "Signal from Titan Base," reported the communications officer. "The stealth fighter squadrons are launching. Neptune's orbital platforms are deploying the drone swarms." The stealth fighters were almost invisible to the naked eye, their hulls coated with light-absorbing materials that made them look like moving holes in space. The drone swarms were even more impressive. Millions of tiny robots, each one capable of disabling an enemy ship's systems from the inside. "Message from Earth Command," Ross said. "The Dominion has responded to our warning." "There?" He frowned. "They're laughing at us. Admiral, they say we're bluffing." Stone allowed herself a small smile. "Show me the full fleet." The main screen lit up with a tactical display. Green dots appeared everywhere. Thousands of ships moving into formation. Hidden bases across the solar system were disgorging their secrets. Ships that had trained together for years in the darkness between planets now moved with perfect coordination. "Launch the orbital guard," Stone ordered. Above Earth, massive platforms that had posed as weather stations transformed. Arrays of defense satellites activated, their weapons more advanced than anything humanity had ever shown to the galaxy. They could strike targets light years away, their beams traveling through artificial wormholes. "Admiral," Ross called out, "the Mercury solar stations are powering up." This was humanity's greatest secret. 3 stations hidden on Mercury's surface, drawing power directly from the sun. Each one could generate enough energy to power all of Earth's cities for a year. Or, if needed, they could channel that power into weapons that could crack planets. "The Dominion still thinks we only have a few hundred outdated ships," Stone said quietly. "They think our technology is decades behind theirs. That's what we wanted them to think. That's why we hid everything that could make them fear us." She walked to the front of the bridge, watching as more ships joined the formation. "We could have shown our strength years ago. We could have dominated the galaxy. Instead, we chose to heal. We chose to help. We built hospital ships instead of battleships." The final pieces of the fleet moved into position. 4,000 ships, each one more advanced than anything the Dominion had ever seen. Supporting them were the automated defense platforms, the drone swarms, the gravity lances, and weapons that most species thought were impossible. "Signal all ships," Stone ordered. "Operation Swift Justice is now active. Primary targets are Dominion military installations only. Any ship that attacks civilian targets will be immediately removed from command." The fleet began to move. Engines that bent space itself pushed the ships to speeds the Dominion sensors couldn't track. They moved like a swift, dark tide through the solar system. heading for the enemy that had dared to attack a hospital ship. Behind them, Earth grew smaller. But in front of them, justice was waiting. The Dominion was about to learn that humanity's mercy wasn't weakness. It was a choice, and they had just forced humanity to make a different choice. The Dominion's defense fleet waited at their border station, 500 ships arranged in a standard combat formation. Their commanders had dismissed Earth's warnings as empty threats. They expected to face a small, outdated human fleet. They were wrong. The first sign of trouble came when their sensors detected nothing at all. The operators recalibrated their equipment twice, believing it was malfunctioning. Then the human fleet appeared, seemingly from nowhere, already inside their defense perimeter. "Multiple contacts," shouted the Dominion fleet commander. How did they? His words died in his throat as he saw the true size of Earth's forces. Thousands of ships, their dark hulls absorbing light, surrounded his fleet on all sides. Admiral Stone's voice broadcast across all frequencies. "This is your only warning. Power down your weapons and withdraw. We have no desire to shed blood in revenge." The Dominion commander laughed, just as his superiors had laughed at Earth's warnings. "You think fancy stealth technology will save you? Our shields are impenetrable. Our weapons are superior. We will show you the price of threatening the Dominion." "As you wish," Stone replied quietly. The gravity lances struck first. Invisible beams of focused gravitational force reached out from human ships. Where they touched Dominion vessels, metal crumpled like paper. Ships were torn apart from the inside, their mighty shields useless against weapons that distorted space itself. "Impossible," the Dominion commander screamed as his fleet's formation broke apart. "These weapons cannot exist." The drone swarms came next, millions of tiny robots slipping through shield frequencies that the Dominion had thought were secure. They invaded enemy ships through maintenance ports and sensor arrays, disabling weapons and engines with surgical precision. Stone watched from the Retribution's bridge as the battle unfolded. "Status report," she ordered calmly. "Enemy fleet at 60% combat effectiveness and falling," Commander Ross reported. "No casualties on our side. Shields holding at maximum." The Dominion ships that could still fight opened fire. Their energy weapons splashed harmlessly against quantum shields that absorbed and redirected the energy. Human vessels didn't dodge or evade. They didn't need to. "They're targeting our engines," Ross noted. "They still think they're fighting normal ships." Stone nodded. "Show them why that's a mistake. Deploy the mirror field." The human fleet activated another hidden weapon. Special energy fields surrounded each ship, catching enemy fire and reflecting it back at its source. Dominion vessels were struck by their own weapons, their shields failing under the unexpected assault. "Enemy fleet at 30%, Ross announced. "They're trying to retreat." "Let the ones that power down their weapons go," Stone ordered. "Show them we keep our word." Some Dominion ships took the offer, shutting down their systems in surrender. Others fought on, their commanders too proud or too scared to yield. The gravity lances spoke again, and those ships joined the growing field of debris. In less than 20 minutes, the battle was over. The Dominion's impenetrable defense fleet was destroyed or captured. Human casualties numbered 0. "Send the recording to the Dominion High Command," Stone ordered. "Let them see what happened here. Let them understand what they've awakened." The surviving Dominion crews, rescued by human medical ships, watched in stunned silence as their superior fleet was dismantled by weapons they hadn't thought possible. They saw human ships moving with impossible speed and precision, demonstrating technology that should have been centuries beyond Earth's capabilities. "Why?" one captured Dominion officer asked his human guard. "Why hide all this? You could have ruled the galaxy." "Because we chose not to," the guard answered simply. "We chose to help instead of harm, to heal instead of hurt. Remember that when you tell others what happened here. Remember that every weapon we use today existed when you attacked our hospital ship. Remember that we had the power to destroy you all along, but we chose mercy instead." The message spread quickly through Dominion space. Earth wasn't weak. Earth wasn't defenseless. Earth had been showing restraint all along. And now, that restraint was gone. The Earth fleet moved through Dominion space like an unstoppable tide. Each day brought news of another military base disabled, another weapons facility shut down. But the most surprising development wasn't the humans' overwhelming victory. It was how they achieved it. Another patrol fleet surrendered without a shot fired. Commander Ross reported from his station on the Retribution. That makes 17 today. Admiral Stone studied the tactical display showing their fleet's progress. The Dominion's territory was vast, but it was falling faster than anyone had expected, not because of Earth's superior weapons, but because of what their enemies were discovering. Message from the Krull system, Ross continued. The local population is rising up against their Dominion overlords. They're asking for our help. He paused, reading further. They say they want to build a hospital like the Mercy Eye. Stone smiled. This was happening across Dominion space. Wherever Earth's fleet went, they found allies among the populations the Dominion had conquered and oppressed. But they weren't asking for weapons or warships. They were asking for medical ships and doctors. Send in the medical support units, Stone ordered. And have intelligence bring up the files we recovered from that last command center. I want to know why they really attacked the Mercy Eye. The files appeared on her screen. As she read, her expression hardened. Get me a fleet-wide broadcast channel. When the channel opened, Stone addressed all ships in the human fleet. We found the truth. The Dominion didn't attack our hospital ship because they thought we were weak. They attacked it because they were afraid of what it represented. She brought up images from the stolen files. The Mercy Eye wasn't just healing people. Every time it visited a world, every time it helped a population, it showed them something the Dominion couldn't afford. It showed them that there was another way to live. The files revealed the Dominion's fear. Every world the Mercy Eye had visited had seen a drop in Dominion control. Not through violence or rebellion, but through hope. The human doctors hadn't just healed bodies. They had healed spirits. They had shown occupied worlds that there were species who used their power to help rather than control. Look at these medical records, Stone continued. The Mercy Eye had developed cures for 3 diseases the Dominion was using to control rebel populations. They saved 2 species the Dominion had written off as doomed. They showed dozens of worlds that advanced technology could be used for healing instead of hurting. A message flashed on her screen. Another Dominion battle group had surrendered, asking only that their worlds receive medical aid in return. The pattern was repeating across the galaxy. The Dominion thought that destroying our hospital ship would break our spirit, Stone told her fleet. Instead, it showed the galaxy who they really are, and who we really are. That's why we're winning this war without destroying everything in our path. That's why their own people are turning against them. She brought up an image of the Mercy Eye, taken before its destruction. This ship scared them more than our weapons ever could. It showed their subjects that power doesn't have to corrupt, that advanced species don't have to be cruel, that there's strength in healing. The fleet continued its advance, but now they were accompanied by newly liberated ships from a dozen species. These ships didn't copy Earth's weapons. Instead, they asked to learn Earth's medical technology. They wanted to build their own hospital ships. Send the next message to Dominion Command, Stone ordered. Show them the worlds rising up against them. Show them the hospital ships being built. Show them that they've lost not because we're stronger, but because we're better. The message went out across Dominion space. Humanity wasn't just defeating their military. They were destroying the very idea that power must always corrupt. And they were doing it not with their hidden weapons, but with the same mercy the Dominion had tried to destroy. The Dominion capital system was the most heavily defended location in their empire. 3,000 warships circled its planets. Automated defense platforms filled its orbit. Energy shields covered every world. It was supposed to be impregnable. Now it was surrounded. Admiral Stone stood on the Retribution's bridge. watching as Earth's fleet took position around the system. Behind her ships flew vessels from 24 liberated species, all united not by conquest but by choice. Final count, Commander Ross reported. We have their capital system completely surrounded. Their leaders are trapped inside their own defenses. Stone nodded, studying the tactical display. The Dominion had gathered every remaining ship they had, making their capital into a fortress. They expected a long, brutal siege. They were about to be disappointed. Play the recording, Stone ordered. The main screen showed security footage from the Mercy Eye's final moments. The images were crystal clear. Dominion warships firing on a clearly marked hospital ship. Next came footage of other attacks. Medical transports, refugee ships, civilian rescue vessels. Broadcasting on all frequencies, the communications officer reported. This is Admiral Stone to all Dominion forces, she began. You see these images. They're being transmitted to every world in your empire right now. Every citizen under your control is watching. They're seeing what you really are. She paused, letting the images sink in. We found your secret files. We know the hospital ship attack was planned at the highest levels. We know your leaders ordered it because they feared medicine more than weapons. They feared healing more than hurting. New images appeared. Records of the Dominion leadership planning the attack, discussing how to blame it on pirates, plotting to destroy other medical ships. Your leaders thought that destroying our hospital ship would make us weak. Stone continued. Instead, it showed everyone your weakness. You fear anything you can't control. You fear anyone who shows kindness instead of cruelty. The Dominion's defense fleet started to move, but Stone wasn't finished. To all ship commanders, your leaders lied to you. They said Earth was weak because we chose to heal instead of harm. Look around you now. See our true strength. We could have been this strong all along, but we chose a different path. Signals began coming in from the Dominion fleet. Ship after ship was powering down weapons. Commanders were refusing orders to fight. Your leaders are hiding in their fortified bunkers, Stone told them. They're asking you to die protecting them. The same leaders who ordered attacks on hospital ships. The same leaders who made you fire on medical transports. Ask yourselves, are they worth dying for? A new signal came in. Ross checked it and smiled. Admiral, the Dominion's own medical corps is denouncing their leadership. They're broadcasting proof that the leaders suppressed medical technologies that could have saved millions. More ships were powering down. The mighty defense fleet was surrendering not to Earth's weapons, but to the truth. Final warning, Stone broadcast. In 1 hour, we will disable your planetary defense systems. We will enter your capital. We will arrest those responsible for the hospital ship attack. Anyone who stands in our way will be disabled, but not destroyed. Anyone who surrenders will receive full medical care. She looked at the tactical display one last time. The Dominion's defenses were falling apart from within. Their own people were turning against them. They thought destroying a hospital ship would make us look weak, Stone said quietly to her bridge crew. Instead, it showed everyone what true strength looks like. It's not about having the biggest weapons or the strongest shields. It's about choosing how to use your power. The countdown began. In the Dominion capital, leaders who had laughed at Earth's warnings now scrambled to escape. But there was nowhere to run. Justice was coming, and it wore the same symbol their leaders had tried to destroy. A red cross against a field of white. Earth's fleet had not just won a war. They had shown the galaxy a better way to use power, and it had started with a hospital ship. 1 year after the fall of the Dominion capital, Admiral Stone stood in orbit above Earth, watching the launch of humanity's newest vessel. The ship was larger than its predecessor, its white hull gleaming in the sunlight. Red crosses marked its sides, each one a proud declaration of purpose. The HMHS Mercy II was the most advanced hospital ship ever built. But it wasn't alone. Alongside it floated medical vessels from 20 different species, each bearing their own versions of the Red Cross. What had started as a human symbol of healing had become a galactic sign of hope. Final systems check complete. Commander Ross reported from his position beside her. The Mercy III is ready for its maiden voyage. Stone nodded, remembering the trials that had brought them to this moment. The Dominion leaders had faced justice for their crimes. Not execution, as many had expected, but something that struck deeper at their beliefs. They had been sentenced to work in hospitals, forced to witness firsthand the power of healing they had feared so much. Message from the Mercy II, Ross said. Captain Miller is requesting permission to depart. Stone smiled at the name. James Miller, one of the 47 survivors of the original Mercy II, had insisted on commanding the new ship. His first officer was Lisa Green, another survivor. They carried the memory of their lost crew, but they carried hope as well. Permission granted, Stone replied, and informed them their escort is ready. The escort was something new. Ships from Earth's hidden fleet now traveled openly, guarding medical vessels throughout the galaxy. They were a reminder that mercy wasn't weakness. It was a choice backed by strength. Admiral, Ross called out, we're receiving requests for medical assistance from 3 systems. 2 are former Dominion worlds, and 1. He paused, checking his display. 1 is from the former Dominion capital itself. Stone watched as the Mercy II began to move, its massive engines pushing it gracefully into space. The ship carried twice as many medical beds as its predecessor, along with technology that would have seemed miraculous just a year ago. But its greatest power wasn't in its advanced equipment. It was in what it represented. You know, she said to Ross, the Dominion leaders never understood. They thought destroying a hospital ship would show our weakness. Instead, it showed everyone their weakness. They were so afraid of kindness, they tried to destroy it. The medical fleet moved out, each ship carrying doctors and nurses from different species working together. Former enemies now saved each other's lives. Old hatreds were being healed along with old wounds. Latest reports from the reformed systems, Ross added. The new medical training programs are showing incredible results. Worlds that once built weapons are now competing to create better healing technology. The Dominion's fall didn't just end an empire. It started a revolution. Stone thought of the crew of the original Mercy II. Their sacrifice hadn't been in vain. Every life saved by these new hospital ships was part of their legacy. Every world that chose healing over hatred honored their memory. Send word to all medical vessels, she ordered. The lanes are clear. The escorts are ready. Show the galaxy what humanity's real power has always been. As the ships disappeared into faster-than-light travel, Stone remembered something a captured Dominion officer had said during the trials. He'd asked why Earth had hidden its military power for so long. The answer was simple, because they'd had something more powerful all along. The real strength of humanity wasn't in their hidden fleets or advanced weapons. It was in their choice to heal rather than harm. It was in their willingness to show mercy even when they had the power to destroy. It was in their understanding that true victory doesn't come from defeating your enemies. It comes from transforming them into friends. The Mercy II vanished into deep space, carrying that message to the stars. Behind it flew the ships of a new alliance, born not from fear but from hope. And on their hulls, the Red Cross shone bright against the darkness, no longer just a symbol of healing, but a reminder of the day humanity proved that mercy wasn't their weakness. It was their greatest strength.